Hello, my name is Sebastian. Today I'm going to show you how to take off and land using the Commander 112A, and I'll show you how to perform a landing and do some navigation using the horizontal situation indicator. So I'm just standing here in front of my plane at the Hollywood airport, so I'm going to get into the plane. Now that I'm in the plane, the way to start it is to first connect the battery. Wait for it to connect. With the master switch on, now I can turn on the fuel pump, followed by starting the engine. Close the door. Okay, and I'm about ready to take off. Next thing to do is to release the brake, power up so we can then taxi onto the runway. So what you'll see is when I'm flying, I'm just going to generally use the keyboard commands. I find it easier to use the keyboard than using the HUD. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off, fly out a little bit, and then come back. And when we come back, we're going to actually do a landing using the horizontal situation indicator and the glide slope, which I describe how to use in a separate video. But this is a good demonstration to show you actually how those two instruments work and how you can use them to more effectively make good landings. Alright, we're going to start here by powering up. Once we're about 45%, lower the flaps, release the brakes, wait till you get to about 30 knots, raise the nose. Raise the gears. The flaps retract by themselves. And now we're going to be flying in the night. So if you look at the upper left hand corner of my window, you'll see that I'm using the mini map. And I use the mini map to actually fly around and find my way around. This is in addition to the regular map, but I find the mini-map useful for flying in localized areas. So you'll notice that the compass up here is showing that we're flying south. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the airport that the horizontal situation is pointing to. I'm going to change it to Hollywood Airport. So while I'm flying along, I'm going to increase my altitude to about 200 meters so you can see a complete landing from about 1.5 kilometers away from the runway. Okay, I'm just at about 200 meters now. So I'm going to level out, and the reason why I know I'm level is if you see down here, this is the vertical speed indicator. This indicates how much you're climbing or how much you're falling. And right now the indicator is showing 0. When I'm falling, the indicator will show 5 to the negative, and when I'm rising it'll show 5 to the positive, or whatever number it happens to be in terms of how fast you're falling or ascending. So now I'm going to turn towards Hollywood again. That basically means we're going to have to be flying to the north, so I'll be making a turn to my left to the east first. Line up with the sims that lead to Hollywood. While I'm doing that, I'm going to lower my flaps and lower the landing gear. So if you look on the left side of the screen, you'll see that the glide slope purple dot is changing. It's basically showing that right now I'm above the runway, so when I'm going to reach the runway I'm going to be a little bit too high, and it's always better to be a little bit too high than it is too low, because you can always make up the difference in altitude pretty quickly once you get to the end of the runway. So the indicator at the compass is showing that I'm much too far to the right of the runway, so I'm going to turn left to actually get that arrow to line up into a single arrow. You can see as well while we're making that turn, you can see my vertical speed indicator is at about -5, and because of that my glide slope is staying roughly, not changing very much. And what I want to do is have a vertical speed indication of about -5 to actually get it to land in the right way, to actually have the nice smooth glide slope as we land. So my arrow is almost completely lined up. I'm going to turn towards the north to slow down the rate at which the arrow lines up. Okay, it's just about lined up now. And now that I'm perfectly lined up, you'll see the heading indicator is now changed to a green color to indicate that I'm within just a couple of meters of the center line. I'm going to have to reduce my power somewhat because I'm still a little bit high on the glide slope. So you can see here I'm coming in a little bit high on this landing. Just to compensate, I've reduced my power. And I should touch down just almost at the end of the runway. And you notice how I'm keeping it nice and smooth, not pointing the nose down, not diving. So that is my landing. And you can see the score is roughly 68 points. It's not a wonderful landing, but it does the job well enough. So that's how you do both a takeoff and landing using the Commander 112. In another video, I explained to you how the HSI works and how to use the glide slope to make an effective landing.